Hello and welcome to the Avrum Rosensweig Show.
Welcome to one of the internet's best podcasts, where we dive deep into the lives of the extraordinary and fascinating people who leave an indelible mark on our world. Join us as we explore their captivating stories, remarkable achievements, and unique perspectives that shape history and inspire generations. Get ready to embark on a journey through the lives of inspiring people unlike any other.
Hi, welcome back, folks. My name is Avrum Rosensweig. I'm delighted to be here with you and so happy that you are watching. Thank you so much for that. I would appreciate it very much if you can go to my YouTube channel and look for the Avrum Rosensweig Show and subscribe. That'll be very helpful. I think I'm just going to cut to the chase here. Generally, people know why I do this show. Others through magnificent stories to make this world of ours even better. Today, my guest is once again Nir Maman. Nir, how you doing?
Good, Avrum. Thank you very much for having me again. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much. And it is an absolute honor to have you, actually. Nir Maman, you'll remember I interviewed about a month and a half ago. He's a very special human being. He's a father of 5, lives in Richmond Hill, 47 years old, and he's committed his life to securing the lives of others, Jews and non-Jews, internationally recognized for his talents having to do with Krav Maga and other various forms of security, martial arts, and really fighting as a warrior. He is back in Israel. When we first spoke to Nir, he was in Richmond Hill with his beautiful family and had made a decision that he was going to return to Israel once again since October 7th. And there he is. So today we are very fortunate, and I'm deeply honored to have him on the show once again, making time for us. He is with some family and friends in central Israel. He's sitting in a very beautiful orchard, and the light is going down in Israel. It's about 7:20 there. You can catch the sun changing on his face. Nir, how are you feeling?
Relatively speaking, I'm doing okay. You know, I arrived here on May 3rd or May 3rd or May 4th. I don't remember now. May 5th, we started training. I serve in 2 units, and so one of the units right now, actually, we were just put together, and we have 3 weeks of very, very intense, very difficult training, which started on Sunday, May 5th. And it ended, our first week culminated on Thursday, late afternoon. We finished, and we were sent home for Remembrance Day and Yom Ha'atzmaut, Independence Day. I have a couple days off to celebrate, be with our families, recover, and then we head back on Wednesday and continue our training. And so I'm very tired. I've been sleeping for the last day and a half straight. Woke up just a few hours ago and still exhausted. I'm in a lot of pain. The training, I'll be posting all kinds of videos that we have, but it's like being in basic training, like an 18-year-old kid in basic training. But what's unique here, actually, the training for this unit, it's a brand new battalion that was put together. It's a special forces battalion. It's comprised of many of Israel's most talented warriors that come out of our most elite special forces units. And the unique thing is that everybody in this new battalion is above the age of 40. There's Israel Today did an article on us, and that was the headline: New Special Battalion for Reservists above the age of 40. And everybody there is, a father, a family man, people that have been out of the army for a very long time and have come back because of the war. A lot of interesting people, and I'm out in the field. We are, I don't want to use the term suffering, but we are really being put through our paces on all fronts. We're being trained as if we are a special forces battalion that is going to deploy to Gaza, to the West Bank, or to Lebanon, because that's exactly what is going to be with us. We are being put together for the purpose of being deployed on any front that the country needs us. And so the training is very unforgiving. I think that's the better term. There's a bar that's set, and we have to stay at that bar. And I'm sitting here watching all around me the guys that I'm serving with, everybody that has volunteered to come to this unit, and it fills your heart up to see it. Again, we got guys that are 50s and plus.
Really?
And we're carrying stretchers on marches for 4 or 5 kilometers for breakfast, to go and get breakfast. We are running nonstop back and forth on the ranges. We are, it's 18 hours a day of training. From 6 a.m. we get up and we start, and we don't get back to our tents, into our cots and our tents until around 10, 11 p.m. So it's really great, and it motivates you, it motivates you. So from that perspective, I'm doing good from a soldier's perspective. I'm in a lot of pain. I'm very tired, but like every IDF soldier, very eager to hit the field and go continue to do what it is that we need to do. We're specifically preparing for Rafah. The other part of me, like I tell everybody, my heart is divided in two right now. There's the heart that's with me here, the half that's with me here as a soldier for our nation, which there's nothing in life that I know how to do better and that I want to do. But the other half of my heart is with my family, my wife and my kids in Canada, which is very difficult, and I miss them dearly. And I don't know how to answer your question about how am I doing from that perspective. It's difficult.
What is it that's difficult? Take it a step further.
Well, look, took me a long time to be blessed with my family, and so these days to be away from them, even for a day, I feel empty right away.
Yeah.
It hurts. It hurts. The circumstances are very difficult. Everything from knowing what it is that we're here to do. We are in one of the most engaged wars, dangerous wars that we have ever had in the history of Israel. Every day you are still hearing of soldiers getting injured and getting killed. And I know how much that weighs on my family when they see those headlines. And so that, of course, is also, I have this massive sense of responsibility on my shoulders, because I have to be here for them. I have to be there for my wife and for my kids. And so to know that I am on the front lines, putting myself at risk, it has a certain weight to it. The situation that all Jews face these days around the world, and all the anti-Semitism, this absolute unprecedented level of, in the days of the World War II and the Holocaust, anti-Semitism was not as spread around the world as it is today. Those who side with anti-Semitism, whether it's by virtue of their indoctrination and their ideology and their religion and their pure intrinsic hatred for the Jews, or whether it's just these imbeciles out there who don't care to properly educate themselves, it's all around the world, literally everywhere. And it scares me to be here on the other side of the ocean while my family is there, potentially exposed to to what all of our people are exposed to in across North America. So there's a lot. This is it's a very complex war, the most complex that I have ever, in my 28 years of being a professional in this line of work, that I have ever seen and heard of. And then everything related to it is very complex as well. The whole situation. And then that trickles down a micro level to me. on a personal level, to me in my life, there's a lot of complexities. So I don't know. That's how I'm feeling.
That was comprehensive. Nice job. You know the question that popped into my head about 5 minutes ago. Do the young guys make fun of you old guys?
So right now, I mean, the older guys, I think we make fun of the older guys. But the older guys, there's something to be said about having been through life long enough. You become very smart, and they have very smart comebacks to hit us with.
They're bright. They're bright guys. Yeah,
absolutely.
I want to get into your pluga in a moment, the guys that you're serving with, because I think it's very important to know the faces of the soldiers. Otherwise, the whole thing can become kind of amorphous. I want to point out to the viewers that at the bottom of the screen, you're going to see two things. You're going to see a ticker listing three different pieces of equipment or psychological help that is required for colleagues of Nir Maman, my guest today. Take a look at it. It's $180, $360, all the way up to $10,000 for a DJI thermal drone. We would appreciate if through the PayPal link that you could contribute a gift towards equipment that is required for reservists in the field. And there's a lot of it. I think one of Israel's weaknesses is that they're phenomenal with the regular soldiers, but the reservists do not get the best equipment. Most Jews know that by now. So what we're trying to do through this video and other videos that I'm doing is to get you to recognize that and to contribute. Again, any dollar level is accepted, and we appreciate whatever you can give. But there are those out there who can stretch for the big dollars, and we really ask you to do that. For the big dollars, we're going to work to get you a donation receipt if we can. For the smaller ones, you'll just have to give this out of the goodness of your heart. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking to Nir Maman today, who's in Israel, who has returned from Toronto, Richmond Hill, to fight on behalf of Israel. And this is not the first time since October 7th. It's the second time. And he is involved with what we call a pluga, a group of guys who are elite fighters above the age of 40. And I think it's phenomenal that people at that age who have such experience in life and really have such a track record at home, so many things going on when you're at that point in life, are being part of this war. Nir, can you tell me a couple? You don't have to mention names, but tell me a couple of the guys that you are training next to. What do they do for a living? What's their character like? Who jumps out at you?
Okay, so so I serve in two units. I am officially assigned to one, which today now is transferred officially to this new. It's called the Jewry. It's the Sayeret Panther, the Panther special unit under Jewry, which is this brand new battalion that was put together. Jewry, it's named after the kibbutz Beri.
Yes.
All of the plugot, the companies, each company is comprised of teams from our different elite special forces units in the IDF, and each company is named after one of the kibbutzim or yeshuvim that were devastated during the October 7th invasion. And the second unit that I'm serving in, this is a unit that I was with in Khan Yunis, the last one. Just I'm going to speak about both because both of them are really in my heart, and I'm fully committed to both of them. In that one, I'm old enough to be everybody's grandfather. In that one, in this new one, I'm pretty much the equal of most of the guys here, being 47 years old. So look, let's talk about this Panther, we'll call it. It's called the Panther unit, so that's what I'll reference it as. We've got guys that have everybody again has come out of the most elite units. My home unit, the counter-terror unit, the Lotav, Sayeret Matkal, Shaitet 13, our naval commando unit, Duvdevan. It's such an honor to have been accepted into this unit. We have guys that, by virtue of the fact that they served in such elite units, when they finished their mandatory service, and some of them a lot of them actually went on to become officers, so they served far longer than their mandatory 3 to 4 years. But you have guys that have continued on in this line of work. We have guys that went on to work for consulate and embassy security around the world. Guys that worked in close protection, bodyguarding units. We have guys that joined the elite police units that we have. Excuse me. We have guys, we have one guy who's in my team. So he came out of my unit originally, the Lotav, the counter-terror unit. He spent the last 17 years in Central and South America doing work for the governments over there, training. And actually going back into the, I think it was in 1996, if I remember correctly, in Peru, there was a hostage-taking situation. I don't remember all the actual players that were involved here, but I believe it may have been a Japanese consulate or embassy that was taken hostage. And him and a group of other Israelis from our unit were there training this Peru's elite hostage rescue units. And when this happened, they helped organize the local unit there, the Peruvian unit, to go and take over the consulate, but they were also embedded with them and actually took part in the rescue, which is very, very unique situation. We have guys that left the Army 20 years ago. They finished the service and they went on to investment banking. They went on to starting businesses, in all kinds of professions. Off the top of my head, I don't remember all of them, but we have a guy who's an investment banker. There was another one who's got a computer technology company. And when the war happened, they all wanted to drop everything and get back into fighting. And this unit, some of the guys managed to get back into their home units and get back into reserves. A lot of guys weren't able to get back in until this unit was created. And by the way, our brigade commander, who is the one that is in charge of the entire brigade that our units are under, is Yoaz Endel. He's the former minister of communications for Israel. Wow. He was a Navy SEAL during his service, a politician, and when October 7th happened, he dropped everything to get right back into the front lines, and then made this new brigade his mission to, number one, and just a sidetrack, there's a lot of records that have been broken in our country with this situation, this war. One of them is the amount of new brigades and battalions that the IDF has had to form in order to contend with all the threats that we're facing. We've got 3 localized theaters of operation, from Gaza to the West Bank, Judea, Samaria, and to Lebanon. And so there's a lot of reorganization that had to be done and a lot more soldiers that were required. And so this particular brigade was specifically to be, had two objectives to it. Number one was to be a spearhead brigade that would have the most elite capabilities to support the IDF's missions on any one of the playing fields that the war is taking place. And number two was to be a home to all of our warriors that were looking to be rehomed and to come back to their home of protecting their homeland. And so that's kind of the uniqueness of this new brigade. So,
Nir, may I ask you, define elite? What makes you guys elite?
certainly. So you can look at it as, if I was to categorize it into three simple categories, just so that it's digestible and understandable for those who don't really understand how the military works. We would have three categories. You have your non-combat soldiers, your people who recruit, don't want anything to do with holding a gun and to being combat, right up to people who maybe came in drafted with the intentions of being combat soldiers, but didn't make it for one reason or another. It could be medical. It could be that, they just didn't get through the first phases of the combat qualification training when you first draft your basic training. That's your first category. Your next category would be your combat soldiers. And we have some of the toughest and some of the most seasoned combat soldiers and battalions that exist among any army. Your regular combat soldiers, they go through a total of 7 months of training. So once you are drafted into the IDF, your 7 months is broken up into 4 months of basic training and another 3 months of advanced infantry training. And that is kind of the minimum. Anybody who is a combat soldier, that's their minimum qualification. And that allows them to go out into the field in whatever capacity, whether it's infantry, artillery, armored, and to fight on the front lines. And then we have our special forces. A lot of people are familiar with that term. Special forces has a lot of kind of subsects to it. But that is where you have to be motivated than anybody else. So first off, when you draft and you go through your assessment, you have about a week to 2 weeks of the IDF putting you through testing and interviews, aptitude testing, medical testing, psychological testing. And when you're done, the highest profile designation that we have in the IDF is a 97. Okay, there's different levels with different numbers. The highest is a 97. If you have a 97, you can theoretically go to wherever you want in the IDF. You can be a fighter pilot in the Air Force, a submarine commander, or try out for any one of our elite or special forces units. These are the units that do the most dangerous, the most complex of missions. These are the ones that do everything from hostage rescue operations to a lot of other things that, many things I can't really disclose. There's things that I don't even know that are done. We have special units within special units within special units. Guys that are embedded in the hornet's nest. They live among our enemies, literally, in all the different regions. And they look like them, talk like them, and our own enemies don't know that they are our warriors that are embedded among them. That's kind of one end of the spectrum, the extreme of what they do. The guys that go out on arrest operations, kick in the doors and go after the wanted terrorists. There's so much that falls under this umbrella. But these are considered the elite of the elite. And so these are the guys that I'm serving shoulder to shoulder with. They're guys that got the highest level as far as their designation in the IDF, a 97 profile. They then were given the opportunity to try out for a special unit. So we go through, it's approximately a week long, what's called a selection phase, which in that week, you will sleep maybe a handful of hours. You will start off with around 1,000 soldiers who are as motivated as you to make it to the end and graduate the training of these elite units and serve in the most elite capacities. By the time the selection phase is done, it goes from about 1,000 soldiers to anywhere from 200 to 500 soldiers. And out of those 200 to 500 soldiers, maybe half will be selected to continue on to start the qualification training for their unit. So the training lasts anywhere from approximately a year and 2 to 4 months up to 2 years. It is grueling training, and where you would start with maybe around 100 guys plus or minus. After that year and 2 to 4 months or 2 years, you have maybe 20 to 30 guys who have completed, who graduate, get their unit's warrior pin, put on their uniform, and have now earned their right into the actual unit, and will then spend the next 2 to 3 years in the front lines serving in carrying out the most complex and the most dangerous of missions that that are required. So that's the best way that I can, I think, in as much specificity, define what we consider elite.
Nir, firstly, I want to tell you that you're highly, highly articulate. You really are.
Thank you.
Your expression of what you're going through, what you see, like you're an interesting fellow because you're a visual fellow, I'm sure. You look around, right? You see the environment, you see the people. Kol hakavod to you. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're a great reporter.
If I wasn't as tired, I think I'd have fancier
I
words,
know.
and my sentences would be a lot better strung together.
Oh, you're great,
And
man.
I wouldn't sound as Israeli with all the ums and the uhs, so I apologize for that.
No, it adds to the show. I asked you to do that before, remember? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Oh, you're it's so wonderful to be with you, Nir, and to hear what you have to say. I want to remind our viewers, please, that at the bottom of the screen you see a PayPal link. The PayPal link is a request to you to contribute toward equipment that is vitally needed, especially amongst reserves in the Israel Defense Force, psychological care for individuals whom Nir knows very well, people, Israelis, our fellow Jewish brethren who have gone through a lot to defend us, and now they are suffering terribly. There are enormous amounts of needs, and Nir is going out of his way not only to train to fight for Israel and the Jewish people, but to collect money for that equipment and for individuals who are in need. There are 3 things listed at the bottom that you can contribute to, but any amount will be accepted, and we thank you so much for that. Nir, in terms of the guys that you're with, how long does it take to develop trust with these guys? How long is it before you know these guys have your back?
Oh, that's about as from the moment that we meet each other, shake hands, exchange names. I know that that brother has my back, just like I have his, no matter what. You know, one of the things that's kind of unique in the reserve capacity, there's a lot of differences here. Everybody that we serve with in reserves, and even I'll go back to the other unit that I belong to, that I'm seconded to, that I was in Khan Yunis with. The guys are much younger than me, much younger than me. I think the oldest one in my team is, I believe he's 26 years old, and he is our platoon commander. And these guys specifically, they spent the first 3 months in northern Gaza, and they've been through hell. They have been through. I'm going to try to give everybody a little bit of a. This is why I post a lot of things, whatever I can, and whatever I'm able to capture from my GoPro camera when we're on deployment. I try to give everybody an actual, intimate understanding and feeling of what it is like. I know that everybody out there, especially from our community, appreciates the fact that we're putting our lives on the line. The complexity and what it takes. You know, I myself, 47 years old, I spent 28 years as a soldier, a police officer, a security professional, and every day I look at the guys that I serve with, and my hat goes off to them. They have my respects like there's no tomorrow, because I know what it takes and I know what they are putting in. But to give you guys an idea, in Gaza, for example, when we go in, we have a lot of objectives. It's very complex. We have to find tunnels. We have to neutralize terrorist cells and teams that are shooting at us. And there's many terrorist organizations in there. We have to take over buildings strategically. We have to find intelligence. We have to conquer. We have to move from building to building to building, from neighborhood to neighborhood, and we have to conquer them, clear them out, and then more forces come in. They hold it, and then we move on to the next. So to give you guys an idea, when that begins, the process, we are assigned a zone. That zone can have dozens upon dozens of buildings. I'm talking 3 to 5 story actual buildings in there. And we are brought in with armored vehicles, heavy mechanized machinery vehicles that are supposed to protect us from landmines that we drive over, RPG hits. We dismount, we jump out, we right away get into the first building. The entry point, we never go in through the doorways of the buildings because of the amount of booby traps, the amount of IEDs that there are there. So we have missiles that are launched into the sides of the buildings to create openings that we crawl through. It's nothing but rubble. It is very difficult, very, very difficult terrain to move through. You can imagine, walls that have been collapsed and furniture everywhere. It takes a long time to properly clear a building. And you're moving through all this rubble, you're climbing over stuff, you're going from one floor to the next, and you're kind of repeating this process until we get to the roof. When we get to the roof, we have to secure a position and safely deliver firepower to areas where we know we have terrorists that are firing at us, and try to neutralize them so then the ground forces can kind of advance and we leapfrog that way. So you spend time in this building, you have all of your equipment, everything that you're going to live with while you're there. You have all your personal combat equipment, and then you have this massive kit bag on you that has your socks and your underwear and your toothbrush, your water canteens, your food rations. You have your cold gear, your rain gear, your sleeping bag. You have, batteries. You have just whatever you can imagine if you're going on a camping trip for X amount of days is in there. You carry all that with you. You finish the first building, you got to move on to the next building and on to the next building. And then when the sun goes down, it's time to camp out. You are now finding a spot in the last building that you took. You camp out. You have to set up security on the building because we have terrorists that are coming out of tunnels that are moving around. While it's dark outside, they try to set up landmines and explosive devices at the points that they know that we're going to go to next, or the pathways that we're going to travel on. And that process gets repeated and repeated and repeated. That is when I went into Khan Yunis with the one battalion that I belong to, Unit 906. The guys there, again, they're in their early to mid 20s. And these are all guys, going back to your first question, what the guys do. We had one guy who was a special ed teacher working with special kids with special needs. We had a guy who was a carpenter. We had a guy who builds kitchens. These are the walks of life. And this is what they did for 3 months in northern Gaza before we went into Khan Yunis together to do all this. One of their armored vehicles was hit with an RPG. By the grace of God, everybody escaped. 2 guys were injured seriously with serious burns. The rest had minor injuries, but they were able to escape from the APC in time. All the equipment was damaged and demolished. And some of the funds that we're trying to raise is to help actually replace the equipment for some of the guys. But this is, if with words I can try to, help people kind of live what we go through, this is what it's like. We now are in May. The heat is unforgiving. We've had days now that have reached 40 degrees Celsius, and we are in training all day long in full gear. And I mean, I take my helmet off and there's sweat dripping out of it. It's brutal. So when we get deployed now, once we get sent out to our missions, add to all of that arduous, grueling physicality, the heat that we're going to be doing all this in. When I was in Khan Yunis, it was still relatively cold. It was painful to sleep, literally painful to sleep. There's no shelter from the cold. And then during the day, it was moderate because of the amount of movement that we're doing, the amount of physicality and all the equipment. I was soaking wet at the end of all of our missions, but the heat was nowhere near what it is now. So that's honestly one of the things that I'm so dreading. I'm not looking forward to is doing all this in the heat. I talked so much that I think I forgot what your original question was.
No, it's
Forgive
good. You
me.
answered a lot of questions. Let me ask you this on a personal level. Are you impressing yourself mentally and physically?
I got to say that I am.
Are you? Yeah, good.
Look, I wasn't. My life has always tended to be physical, and I've always been into fitness. The last year or two, I haven't been able to really be as regimented as I used to be. I've had some medical issues that have kind of I'm 47 years old, that have kind of crept up, and I really wasn't too sure. I was hoping that I would last, and the first couple of days were very difficult, but I'm a soldier within. I'm a soldier through and through, and uh, I'm holding my own. Just fine. And by the time we're done, our next 2 weeks of training, I will be I will be more conditioned as well. I haven't been as conditioned. When I went to Khan Yunis, I was brought in. I was already 3.5 months in the military, in reserve service before, out of Hebron in the West Bank. It wasn't as physically demanding as this. 50% of it was. When we would go out on arrest missions, for example, we'd go in, usually when we would dismount from the armored vehicles, we would sometimes have up to a kilometer to walk, and Judea Samaria, I mean, it's all hills, so it was kind of tough. And then when I went to Khan Yunis, I didn't. There's always a training session before every unit is deployed. We had 48 hours notice to go in. They already kind of convened and went through 2 days of training, and then they deployed. When I got there, my guys were already in Khan Yunis. I had to prepare, and then the next day they drove me in specifically on my own to join me up with my unit. I didn't have time to really prepare for it, and I felt it on my body. Again, if you look at some of the footage from my GoPro, the amount of walls we had to climb and rubble we had to climb through, it was painful, but I made it. And now I'm going through a proper 3 weeks of training. The IDF's motto is, it's always, we make it harder in training so that it'll be easier in real life. It's never easy in real life, but the training is programmed or designed to force you to really bust through your own limitations mentally, emotionally, and physically. And I'm holding my own just fine. So I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, as you can see in the background, Nir is in Israel, in an orchard in Israel, a playground area, hence the voices of little children playing. And I have to say, from a very dramatic point of view, Nir Maman, that, so many of us who have visited Israel and spent time there on kibbutzim or moshavim or in the cities, the most beautiful thing one can hear in Eretz Yisrael is the sound of little kids playing. Would you agree with that? You're a father of a 4-year-old.
So you mentioned a little bit earlier on about the amount of psychological trauma that our nation has faced, our people has faced. It's unprecedented. It's unprecedented. It ripples out throughout the country. I'm meeting people. I'm hearing stories. For me, I will tell you that I know one of the traumas that I'm carrying with me that I'm going to have to deal with, and it has to do with everything that I've seen and that I have learned of what has happened to the kids. And Well, I'll tell you, I've never in my life been faced with such, I don't know what the word is, but such traumatic complexity. Um, I'm so in tune. I'm so in tune to the voices of little kids. You know, I used to travel a lot with work, and I remember whenever you would see, I think like everybody, when you would see a parent board a plane with a little baby, a little child, you would sit there and say, "Please don't let that be around me for this flight. I don't want to deal with, you know." And I'm going to tell you right now that there's nothing that brings a pain to my heart quicker than when I see a child get hurt, when I hear a child cry. Um, Especially now. And, you know, it's why a lot of people still ask me, I mean, you know, you have a wife and you have 5 kids at home. Why are you here? And that's why I'm here. How can I not be here? You know, um, I wish I could have been there in the early morning hours of October 7th. But that's one of the strings in my heart right now that, yeah, you know, it's I'm very sensitive to. Um, so, yeah, I'm watching the kids that you're referencing right now. There's a house right in front of me, about 100 meters in front of me. They got their patio lights on right now, and it's a group of kids that are playing around there. They're singing. You heard them earlier on. They're dancing around, singing a song, clapping their hands, and you know, I don't think there's any more of a beautiful background noise to anything in life than the sound of kids being happy and having the gift of life and the ability to make all the noise and all the sounds that they can.
Well, with that in mind, Nir, I remember when I myself have gone through trauma, the death of my father, the death of my mother, the death of my sister, and I'm walking across the street in our plaza, and I feel as though I'm in a completely different world than those who are smiling and coming out of Shoppers Drug Mart and, you know, running to their car with their parcels. And I always wish that I was in that world. I'm curious about your psyche. On one hand, you just went through grueling training. Um, Before that, you were in Richmond Hill, a very safe part of the world, with your beautiful family and your wife and kids, right? And now here you have a couple of days off, and you're sitting in a beautiful orchard, not too far from kids. Where are you at in your head?
In my head, look, the majority of the time in my head, I'm with my wife and kids. I'm holding my wife and I'm holding my kids. I miss them. I miss them dearly. Um, Other than that, I'm just itching to get back in uniform, to finish doing what we need to do, and to go deploy. So I'm very, very stuck in my professional kind of mode, and that's it.
Near, there's a lot of people in the diaspora who are holding on to every word that you're articulating, and we are, because the Jewish people are one with Israel, most of us, many of us. And we're also very scared of the proliferation of anti-Semitism in the world, something I don't have to tell you about. Can you send out a message from you, from your experiences within the IDF, the humanity of the IDF, the strength of the IDF, and of Israel and the Israeli people. If you could share some words of hope for us here.
Let me begin by answering the part of the IDF and us. We have the most powerful army in the world, no matter what it looks like, no matter what it seems, how it seems that the world is united against us. Nobody will ever defeat us. We have the most experience in survival, not necessarily in fighting wars, but in survival. That's our DNA. We have always survived. You look at our history, you look at everything that we've been through, we have always been against all odds, and we have always survived. Because we are the people of God, we are the army of God. And we always have that. And we always will. We love all of you for all the support that you give us. I will tell you, I keep on telling this over and over again because people ask me, every bit of support that comes from the outside world into the IDF, every soldier sees it, they feel it, it resonates with them, it puts a smile on their face. And so we know we're fighting for a right cause, a just cause, and for the cause of all of our people. There isn't a soldier in the IDF that wants to go home. We all want to stay on the front lines, and we want to continue this fight until every single man, woman, and child of Israel knows that they can put their heads on their pillow at night, close their eyes, and sleep in peace. As far as all the Jews around the world, keep being Jewish, keep being proud. They make a lot of noise. There's a lot of the hate against us is not as big as it seems. It's all the noise that it's making is what makes it seem like a monstrosity of a giant, but it's not. Our Jewish pride is stronger than anything. We have survived so much as a people, as a nation, again, against all odds. And we keep on proving the world that we're not going anywhere. Nothing will ever, ever crack our resolve, our ability to survive. And we have to stay true to that and strong to that. Be the proud Jews that you are. Wear your kippas and your Magen Davids. Fly the white and blue everywhere. We have God on our side, and we're not going anywhere.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have been listening to Nir Maman, who's my guest, who is in Israel right now, and very shortly he will be entering into a theater of combat. I think it's appropriate to say that we are thankful to Nir and his colleagues and all of the warriors in Israel who are fighting on behalf of Eretz Yisrael, Israel, and the Jewish people. It's so incredibly compelling to hear you speak, Nir, and to know where you're at and to know what you've just gone through and to know what you're going to go through. And with that, we wish you all the best. We wish you shalom and to your fellow warriors. And from the depths of our heart, I thank you and we thank you for what you are doing. I don't think there are words, as you said before, to express our appreciation for your courage and bravery. And yeah, that'll be forever. So well done, my friend. Well done.
Thank you so much.
Ladies and
Thank
gentlemen, if you'd like to contribute to the IDF, in particular the reservists, please take a look at the bottom of the screen. I will be posting this, and it is a recorded video, so you'll be able to freeze it on your screen if you are not able to write it down otherwise. There are a lot of different opportunities to contribute towards psychological help for many soldiers who have fought on our behalf, as well as equipment, some of it very expensive, like a DJI thermal drone at $10,000, but you can always contribute a part of it. We would be very grateful, and you can do so by donating through the PayPal link. Last thing, Nir, you've mentioned a number of times. I love how it's getting dark on you. This is working very well here.
Yeah.
Last thing is you've mentioned many times where you've posted videos. Where can people see your stuff?
On Facebook under my name. On my Instagram, I don't like Instagram, but I had to kind of be modern and jump on Instagram. So I'm on Instagram. My name there, my handle there is Nir Maman, NIRMAMAN 707. Nir Maman 707. I used to be on LinkedIn, but I've been permanently banned from LinkedIn because I've had too many unfiltered responses to anti-Semites and terrorist supporters that went against LinkedIn's community standards. So I'm no longer there. Welcome to the new world.
It's a badge of honor, my friend. Badge of honor. It's a badge of honor. Yeah.
Oh,
We're going to conclude here with a big hug and a thank you to Nir Mamon's wife and to his 5 children, who in their own way are on the front lines of the Jewish people. And again, I can't express enough our appreciation, not only to you, Nir Mamon, but also to your beautiful family. And that includes your father and your mother and all the people who are loving and supportive of you as you go on this road to make sure that the Jewish people are okay. We love you a lot for that. Thank you, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that.
God bless you. You're listening to the Avrum Rosensweig show. It's all about paying honor to humankind, and that's done through hearing people's magnificent stories, inspirational stories. Go out and do your thing. Be inspired. Be inspirational. Make sure you're playing a role in the survival and the strengthening of the Jewish people. Thank you so much for watching.